Hello everybody, this is Gruesome Fox coming at you with the next installment of my ranking series, where I play a group of mobile suits that are currently in Gundam Battle Operation 2, make videos about them, and compile my thoughts into a final ranking video. And for this part of the series, I wanted to look at the Zaku I variants that are currently in GBO2. This is going to follow a very similar format to what I did with the Pale Rider series. The only big difference I'm doing here is that I am going to be pairing the Zaku Is into groups. So for this video here, we're going to be taking a look at the base Zaku I and the Zaku I Commander type, both of which are part of the lower cost end of mobile suits in GBO2. And for the sake of consistency, I'm not going to jump between both suits while talking about them. I am going to stay on a specific suit for a portion here, and then kind of talk about the other one when it's its turn. So if you want to get to a certain Zaku, there will be timestamps included with the video. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. So starting off here, we are going to have the base Zaku I, which is a raid type mobile suit native to cost 100 that goes up to cost 300 at level 5. And the level 5 version of the Zaku I is going to be the version I'm primarily talking about in this video, because unless you are in a custom room, there's really no realistic way to play the lower cost version of the Zaku I these days. 200 and 250 do not appear in map rotation anymore, so again, unless you're in a custom room, there's really no way to use anything besides the level 5 version of the Zaku I. But with the weapons that you can get with the Zaku I, for your main range weapon, you can choose between either the Zaku Machine Gun early model or the Zaku Bazooka early model. For your main melee weapon, you do have the standard Heat Hawk, which is the same Heat Hawk used by a lot of Zeon mobile suits in the game. And for your secondary weapon, you do get some Cracker Grenades. And looking at the skills that you get with the level 5 version of the Zaku I, you get High Performance Bouncer level 1, Melee Combo Controller level 2, Enhanced Tackle level 5, Leg Shock Absorber level 1, Assault Booster level 2, High Spec Ambac level 1, Maneuver Armor level 2, and Interrupt Tackle level 1, which is everything you get here with the Zaku I. And, Zaku I, it does feel like a more standard raid overall, which is really not too surprising since this is one of the starter suits that they give you in GBO2, so really not going to fault it there for feeling more like a fairly basic raid unit overall. But that is going to take me into the positives and things I like about the Zaku I, and I would say the biggest positive you have here for being the level 5 is that you do have access to a lot of the highest level versions of skills that this suit can have. For example, Melee Combo Control level 2, you don't get that until the 250 version of the Zaku I, so that is why you do have access to the 3 melee swings. You also get a higher maneuver armor and a higher enhanced tackle as well, so do get some nice benefits for using this suit at 300. The other good thing with being higher level as well is that it does give you the opportunity to put on some of the overtune parts. Not a whole lot of them, but I think you can get at least some parts on this. I know for this build I think I have the overtuning mobility part on, so like most high-level suits, you do have the ability to put on overtune parts if you so wish. The other, I would say, positive or thing I like about the Zaku I is that, well, first off, you do get those tackle skills. Again, you get enhanced tackle at level 5, and you get interrupt tackle as well. So, do get some nice tackle skills with this suit. And I think the main thing I like about the Zaku I is that it is one of the few suits where I really prefer the machine gun over the bazooka. Zaku Bazooka, it only has 3 rounds, and really I could not get the best performance out of that bazooka, but with the Zaku machine gun here, the early model, it is a faster firing machine gun. It has a pretty good stagger accumulation, and it also has a pretty fast reload as well, so I do think the Zaku machine gun is really good on this suit. Unfortunately, this does bring me into the weaknesses and flaws I think the Zaku I has, and I think the biggest 2 things that are holding the suit back is simply that it's just a really simple raid, and that it's just limited to 300 cost these days, because 300 is a cost that has a really good selection of raid units. You have the Agu guy, you have the Makube's Goof, and even though you don't see it as often, you have the Raid Thunderbolt Ag guy, which again, even though you don't see the Raid Thunderbolt Ag guy as much as the General and the support, it still has a lot of what makes those suits, like, really good. So, really with 300, it just kind of brings up the question, why would you use the Zaku I when you just have these more reliable raid picks that can just do more melee damage, they have more skills, better skills, more tools to help them get in and do melee. The Zaku I just really doesn't have a whole lot of that to really help it get in and do melee, which is, I think, part of why I like the Zaku I machine gun on this suit so much, just because it kind of lets me stay back and help my team get, like, staggers, but, yeah, like, I just feel like the Zaku I is just a simple case of just it's an outdated suit that's just at a very high cost for what it is dealing with. And that's also not to mention that the generals at this cost are really good and just really good at shredding suits like the Zaku I here, where you have like the Dozo Zaku, you have the General Thunderbolt Ag guy, you have the Maria Shield Gym 2, which is one in this match. That's a suit that has some really good ballistic weapons, so and on top of the raid competition, you just have some really strong generals to deal with as well. So, I guess, kind of thinking about how I would maybe go about buffing the Zaku I, the biggest thing I think I would like to see with the Zaku I is for it to get the skill that, like, the Makube's Goof has, where if you have a melee weapon out, you are able to move faster and you are harder to stagger. I think that would be a good buff for the Zaku I, at least if they want to limit it to the higher cost versions. This is a skill that they usually give the Zaku I in, like, situation battles, so I feel like it's not really too much of a stretch to give it to the, like, actual Zaku I for normal matches. I think that would probably be one of the best case scenarios if it did get that melee skill, because again, you will move faster and you'll be harder to stagger, so would just make it a lot easier for the suit to move in and do melee. The other thing I was kind of thinking is maybe give it a second melee, like maybe give it a version of the blow melee. It doesn't really have to, like, heavy stagger like the Dozo Zaku can, it could just be like a normal staggering blow, but it could give you, like, the shoulder tackle downswing, which I think would be very fitting for the base Zaku I here. But yeah, that's really most of what I have to say about the Zaku I. Again, it's one of those suits that, like, it can do good in the right situations, but it's just that, it's just an older suit that really just needs some attention to really be able to do anything, because as it is now, it's just, limited 300, which just has some really good suits. And it's going to be timeout mission over. Let's see how we did here with the base Zaku I at 300, and yep, did get the mission complete, and let's see what our final stats were. And yeah, did beat my rival, didn't get anywhere on the board, definitely will be praising the Zaku I sniper there. And yeah, third place with 4 kills and 3 losses, did get 5th in damage and 1st in assists, so not too bad of a match there in the Zaku I. But that is going to lead us to our next suit, the Zaku I Commander type. The Zaku I Commander type is a support type mobile suit. It is native to 200 costs and goes up to 350 at level 4, which is the version I'm going to be using in this match here. And for your weapons, you do have access to the Zaku Machine Gun, the Zaku Bazooka, or the Magella Top Cannon prototype as your main ranged weapon. For your main melee weapon, you do have the generic Heat Hawk that is shared with a ton of Xeon mobile suits. For your secondary weapons, you have a Sturmfaust. This is the older model of Sturmfaust that can do some high damage but does take quite a while to ready up, but it does count as a instant stun. And then you have a Spike Shield for defense. And then for the skills here, you have High Performance Radar level 2, High Performance Scope level 1, Observational Data Link level 1, Lake Shock Absorber level 1, High Performance Aerospace Gimbal level 1, Shield Tackle level 1, and High Spec AMBAC level 1. And that is everything that you get here with the Zaku I Commander type, and I really want to start off by saying that the Commander type here actually surprised me with how well this suit is able to still perform, even with the current suits that are available at GBU2. or on GBO2 at like 300 and 350. I was kind of worried that the suit may have had a similar issue to the Zaku 1, where Zaku 1 being limited to 300, it has to compete with some really good raids. Zaku 1 Commander type really doesn't have that issue too much, since it is able to jump from 300 to 350, but even then, those two costs still have some really good support units that players can pick from. Another one I'm going to cover in the series here being the Zaku 1 Sniper type. That's still a really good long-range support unit. You also have the Thunderbolt Agai, the Recon type, as well as the Gun Cannon Aqua, which I've seen way more often these days. So, yeah, for like 300 to 350, there really is no shortage of support units, but Zaku 1 Commander type here still feels like a really reliable unit, and that is going to take me to the positives and things I like about this suit. Starting off with the kit itself, I think part of what makes this suit still so good is that it just has a really solid loadout going for it. For your main melee weapon, I've tried this suit out with both the Magella Top Cannon prototype and the Zaku Bazooka. And even though I do like the Magella Top Cannon more, I can see why I have seen players use the Bazooka on this suit, because the Zaku Bazooka is really nice on the Commander type here, especially if you pair it with the other pro that this suit has, is that the Commander type actually has some really nice melee damage, especially if you hits a raw downswing on a general unit. You can get some pretty decent damage numbers depending on what kind of general you're hitting, what their resistances are. So really like decent melee for a suit that only has one swing and like no real melee skills. You do have that Sturmfaust, which is again, another instant stun weapon. It's really easy to use the Sturmfaust first and follow up with your primary to maybe go into a melee. If not, it's still a good way to just kind of dish out range damage, going with the Sturmfaust and then your main weapon, or vice versa, whichever one is, more kind of practical for the moment. But yeah, Sturmfaust, really like that on the suit, and you do get the shield tackle skill, so, your shield is not only for defense, you can use it as an offensive tool as well. And really, kind of looking at this suit, I don't have much to say in terms of like negatives that isn't just the typical flaws that a support is kind of built with. The Zaku 1 Commander type here, it's a fairly basic support unit, but unlike the Zaku 1, where I felt like the Zaku 1 was kind of hindered by being a basic suit, I think for the Commander type it actually works more in this suit's favor of just being a basic, reliable, mid to long range, and even some instances close range depending on what weapon you're using. Like, you can be a good just kind of unit for like most ranges. Not really long ranges, you are going to get outranged by things like the Zaku 1 Sniper type and suits that have like beam sniper rifles. Those I think would heavily outrange the suit even if you're using the Magella Top Cannon prototype. But for most other ranges that the suit can fight at, it's, for the most part, really, again, just a pretty reliable unit overall, and like I said, really don't have much in terms of negatives that aren't just what's kind of already baked into supports as a class, and like, again, maybe just the issue of having like lower range, which again, I don't think is really a flaw for the suit, it's more just the weapons that it is given. Not really expecting this thing with a Magella Top Cannon to kind of compete with like the Zaku 1 Sniper or the Gym Sniper with their like beam sniper rifle, so really, yeah, that's most of what I have to say here with the Zaku 1 Commander. Just a really good, solid support unit for really just kind of having the opposite of what the Zaku 1 has, where Zaku 1, I feel like its more basic kit and build was kind of its biggest downside. With the Commander type, I think that might be really more of its biggest strength, which is really an interesting thing to see with this suit here. So, yeah, that's really everything I have to say with the Zaku 1 Commander type, and again, really do like the suit, and yeah, really like the suit, think it's solid, And yeah, that's really most of what I have here. So yeah, after this, it's going to be... Well, let me give a more fitting conclusion. I'm going to briefly talk about both the suits I talked about in this video. So yeah, Zaku 1, the base Zaku 1, that suit I think could really use an adjustment. I think that suit is more on the struggling end. And the Zaku 1 commander type here, I really don't know what they could do in terms of an adjustment, honestly, because again, I think the suit is pretty solid as it is now, so I can't think of like what they would want to actually do with this unit. I think as it is now, the commander type is just still a pretty good suit overall. So that's kind of my quick thoughts on both of those suits that I covered here. And after this, it's going to be the Zaku 1 GS and the Zaku 1 Sniper. Just to kind of give a little tidbit on those two suits, it's going to be really interesting to kind of talk about them because I kind of feel like with those suits, they're kind of very similar to what I'm talking about with the Zaku 1 and the Commander type here. They kind of have like some of the same things going on, and it's like also just leads to opposite like pros and cons with them, so it's going to be really interesting to talk about those suits when I get the video done for those. But yeah, for the Zaku 1 and the Zaku 1 Commander type, yeah, that's really going to be the end of these two matches and what I have to say for each of the suits. I'm going to, well, first I'm going to wait for the results to come up first, and then I'll start closing out the video since we are nearing the end of the match here. And yep, timeout mission over. Let's see how we did here with the Zaku 1 Commander type. And yep, we got a mission complete. And yeah, top in individual and top in damage dealt. Also beat my rival. And yeah, first place with 6 kills and 2 loss. First place in damage. First place in pursuit assist as well. So yeah, really good match there with the Zaku 1 Commander type. And yeah, that's going to be all I have to say for the Zaku 1 and the Zaku 1 Commander type for this part of the new ranking series. And again, I think both of these suits have their own sort of pros and cons. Just, again, really just kind of depends on the suit itself, especially since both of these suits are 2 different typings. They kind of have their own things kind of going on with them. So yeah, that's really everything I have for this video here. Comment down below what you think about the Zaku 1 or the Zaku 1 Commander type. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and with that, I will see you all in the next one. Later.